Collector's Vault at Chasen Galleries.
Welcome to Collector's Vault at Chasen Galleries. This is episode 12. My name is James. I'm your host today, and I'm here today with Holly Markhoff. Good afternoon.
Hi, James. So happy to meet you in person somewhat now.
Yeah, same. And just for all the collectors that write, a lot of collectors were saying, they miss seeing me with my little Chasen Gallery sweatshirt. So today
I like that.
I'm wearing the Chasen Gallery swag for you. So welcome. It's great to meet you. And so I know we were talking about maybe doing in the studio, but we're back home. Is that where we are today?
Yes, we're back home. I do have a small studio upstairs here as well, but this way I brought in a few things that maybe, most of them probably will be brought to Chasen. So there's a little bit of a preview. Some aren't quite done. I put them into frames just to clean them up.
Great. And so you have a studio in your home, but do you also have one off premises or?
Yes, I have a small studio in my home upstairs. If I just want to work late, I'll do little print work and some of my framing. And then downtown, which is wonderful, I'm 4 blocks from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. I'm right near, for people that are familiar with Richmond, I'm right near Carytown.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yes.
I love Richmond. So you can walk down to your studio.
I can, and I used to be able to walk to Chasen Galleries when they were in Richmond.
That's fabulous. So you're in Richmond. Is that where you grew up?
No, I grew up in Alexandria, right outside of DC, originally from New York, but most of my life was in Alexandria, or my childhood. And then I came to Richmond for school, and I'm here. I'm here for a while.
Nice. So, does the where you grew up, has that influenced your work at all? Like whether it's environmental or the neighborhood, like do you find that that's impacted the art that you do?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I really became interested in art actually because of 2 things where I grew up. One was the Torpedo Factory, if you've heard of that. It's a big place in Old Town where they have different artists doing work, showing their work. Anyone that goes down to Old Town Alexandria has to go there. And there were so many artists. My mother was a writer, and we would go down to Old Town Alexandria all the time. She worked for one of the newspapers. And there was this particular sculptor who did artwork that would hug you. It was sculpture. And apparently I found out years later his daughter was in the sculpture. But I remember going into his studio as a kid and just being awe-inspired. And then this giant statue hugged me. And so,
what do you mean it hugged you? Like literally it moved, or like you slipped into it and you?
Well, it was apparently a statue that had somebody inside of it, but it looked like a statue. And then it came over and hugged me. And art was just amazing to me after that. And
how old were you when you would say when you did that?
Oh my gosh, I was probably about 8 or so.
So it's amazing how the impact of your parents, showing you these things at that age. Because I mean, I remember seeing, like it was yesterday, my first musical my mom took me to when I was 5, and it was Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes.
But I remember it like it was yesterday. And since then, my whole trajectory has been around art. So
yes, it's so true. So true. And I had a similar childhood in that my dad took me to Fiddler on the Roof, and I saw the actual Zero Mostel in it. And even though my dad was an engineer, my house was filled with art, and my dad had a kiln, and we did sculpture, and we did family painting on a big sort of mural canvas, I guess you'd say, and then with a mom as a writer, so it was definitely around to me.
Did your mom? She wrote? You mentioned for a newspaper. Did she also do was she published like an author as well, or was it focused on news?
She was freelance. She did a lot of freelance. She wrote for magazines and things, but she was also in the day where I think a woman doing that was not as welcoming. I remember she told me one time when she went to apply for a job somewhere, at a newspaper, they actually asked her if her husband had given her permission. But that was before I was born.
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
That's too funny. So were there mom's creative, dad, even as an engineer, I mean, that's creative. Were there other artists in the family at all, or was it strictly the 2 of them?
That's a really good question. Well, my cousin Sarita is a singer. And just art was always a valued thing. Our home had beautiful things in it. It was arranged in not sort of maybe in a traditional way, but bursts of color and art and a little statue. And it was just always in the fabric, I think. And,
Sure.
my dad playing his music and doing his art on the side. And my mom, I'd fall asleep to her typing. And then I was involved in theater. So I think creative things were definitely encouraged. And
You and I had a similar childhood. I mean, like listening to you is exactly what I grew up with. I mean, it
really,
was hysterical. I remember at one point, my brother had an electric guitar, and my grandfather may have been in his late 60s at the time, and picking up an electric guitar and playing like songs from the 40s on it. And just so, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps telling that story.
oh,
It was, I mean, that's amazing how it's influenced us, both of
it
us.
really has. Yes. And my twin brother played the trumpet. but,
And it
with his
continues.
kiss posters in the background.
Yeah. Where does your inspiration come from? Because it looks like when I was looking at your bio and your collection, it looks like you're very consistent with what you do. Where does
Interesting.
that start? I would
Oh,
ask.
that's interesting. Because I see maybe a few different genres rather than consistent. But I think part of what I do predominantly is I really like things to be joyful. And I think it's probably for me as well, no matter how I go into my studio, whatever's going on in the world, I can turn on some beautiful music or listen to a very beautiful book on tape. I try not to listen to the murder mysteries, although sometimes I do, but that influences me a little differently. And
Mhm.
I try to make work that is, even though it might be fun, and some people have used the word whimsical, which I don't really actually love that word for my art is whimsical, but I I try to make my work somewhat of a sophisticated, I hope it is, and joyful. So I
Sure.
want somebody to, in most cases, I've done pieces with other purposes, but I want somebody to look at that. Like this one is, I don't know if you can see this one, is
We can
called
see it
Belly Laugh.
clearly. Yeah.
And they're just sitting there. It's not. It needs a little more touch up. I'm not quite sure if it's done yet, but it's called Belly Laugh, and they're just sitting there laughing and just in a joyful moment. And the women up here on the easel, they just are happy. And I like to bring that out. So what my hope is, I think, is that people will look at it and they'll just sort of feel that sort of happiness come
Sure.
through.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I could see that. Do your pieces start with drawings, or are they sort of as you work, things develop and change?
Yeah. I they don't necessarily start with a drawing, but I'm always drawing. So everywhere I go, I have a sketch pad and I'm drawing different scenes and different people, and then I'll notice a consistent theme in the drawing that I'll carry over. I'll notice, oh, now I'm drawing people sitting in a certain way, or I'm drawing people in a certain ballet pose,
Sure.
and then I'll carry that. It's almost like I've not perfected it, but I'm comfortable with it on paper, and then I'll bring it over to canvas.
Gotcha.
And one of the things I also like to do, like this one is it's not quite done, even though it's sitting in a frame. It's a 1920s bathing suit women, and I like to somehow have a picture grasp a moment, grasp a time or a place or a story or something. And
I can see that. So, have there been influences in your art, like artists that you admire that you would say have somehow filtered into your approach to your
oh wow, yes. Um, I love Klimt and
Sure.
his gold, and a lot of my work, if it's under the lighting where you can see it, has gold in it and just little flecks of gold that come through. There's just something about that to me that just brings in a lot of energy and I don't know, sort of a pattern.
It's almost
Um,
sculptural. It's almost sculptural too. I mean, seeing all the layers.
yes, and I do a lot of layers of paint, and I use different kinds of paints from different acrylics, some very nice acrylics, some just whatever I find acrylics. I even use
Like how
house
it could be
paint.
house paint or it could be
Yes,
Winsor Newton.
exactly. Yes, and I love to this one brand a really nice acrylic that I could only get in Australia from Australia, and they stopped importing it to the U.S. But
Wow.
so that is actually that is in most of my paintings, is this really nice Australian paint. I'm at the very end of it.
What is it about the paint that you're so connected with
Yeah,
that particular brand?
the colors in that brand,
Colors.
they just blend beautifully, and even some of the colors stand on their own. They have an Australian green that I have tried to mix and I cannot quite get it.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
so I've even saved the little empty container so I can keep it as a reference.
That's fabulous. And so when you're painting too, I noticed that you said there's sculptural elements. Are you working in acrylic? Are you working in oil? And how are you building up your layers?
I use a lot of mixed media. So I use like the house paint, the acrylic. Sometimes I'll use papers and things. I'm going to go
So
graphic.
when you say encaustic, that's wax. You're including wax.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, I don't do encaustic. But I'll use different kinds. Sometimes I'll add in pretty papers,
Oh, okay.
which will just, I'll paint on top of it. Sometimes I don't use any. But one of the main things I do is every time I add a color or a layer, I use a high gloss varnish,
Mhm.
but I don't just put it on the outside. Each painting has 10 or 20 layers of the varnish in it, which really builds it up to be glass-like and have that texture and feeling. And so my studio, which next time will have to be there, I have tables laid out and I work on about 5 pieces at a time. So
You work flat?
I work flat,
Gotcha.
yes. And then I'll get something down and get some color down, and then when it needs to sort of stay for a bit, I'll go ahead and coat it with this beautiful high gloss varnish, and it just bursts the colors through.
Sure.
And then I will go on to the next, and I'll just let them dry. So during one studio day, I'm just walking around to each table, and
So I don't know if I heard an answer to the question. Is it acrylic or oil that you work with?
Oh, that's a good. You see, I get around the answer. It's acrylic. It's not oil.
Acrylic.
Not oil.
Yeah, I was going to say, because in order for you to do those layers, I would think you'd need a quick drying time in order
Yes,
to do that.
yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Occasionally, I've used like a little bit of an oil pastel on the very top layer, but
Mhm.
not. But mostly, it's just acrylics and
Cool.
different mixed media.
So now you're working on a theme for your upcoming show, which is going to be through August, specifically August 27th, which we're going to talk about. But have you in your process, do you ever take commissions? And if so, like how do you feel about commissions? Because I'm looking at your work and I don't know what people would say other than I would like me and my two sisters in something.
Yes. Yes. Well, I do commissions occasionally, and I I enjoy them once I get into them. I enjoy working with people.
Mhm.
The process of doing a commission can be a little bit uh, challenging because I'm not always as free. Instead of seeing
Sure.
it as I see it, I'm seeing it through somebody else's eyes. I'm thinking, oh, how does this look to them? But it's a fun process. It's always been for people that want to represent people, in
Right.
their
So that was
family.
going to be my question. So I could
Yeah,
see that's somewhat challenging because I mean, I'm looking at the playful faces in your work and
right,
all, and maybe they're not, and you're like, okay,
right. Well, what I do is no, they're yeah. Some of them, they usually want the people looking happy, luckily. But what I get them to do, it's kind of fun, is I get them to send me lots of pictures of the people, and if it's multiple people, I want to see a lot of pictures of them together because you don't even realize subconsciously, and now you'll notice this when you go look at your photos.
hmm,
People tend to stand next to certain people or in certain poses in
sure,
pictures. And so when I want to capture somebody, I want to do something that's going to be familiar. And so if so people will say, I get them to send me a lot of pictures, and then I'll sketch out. I'll say, oh, this person always stands with their arm on their hip, and this one always tends to stand next to one of these two people, and this one always tilts their head,
correct,
and I make little notes, and then I ask for them to send me personality traits of the people. So that
gotcha.
this person's a
Wow.
lawyer, this person is silly, and this person's serious. And I do the sketch of the people, and then I write their traits in there. And
Wow.
yeah, which
So you really get in depth. I mean, you get into it. I could see. Yeah. So I see the ladies, and with the upcoming show, it's called Sister Sister. So you had a funny story about that. I asked you, how'd you come up with that title, and you said,
Andrew did. Yes, Chasen Gallery came up with the name, and I said, "Oh, okay, that's a great name." Because
I'm curious why. What did he give you a reason, or you just said, "No, I see sisters here"?
yeah, I think they want a lot of the figuratives, and I tend to do a lot with ladies. So sister, sister. I hope he's going to be happy because he's always also getting some flowers.
Yeah, and they're
Because
beautiful. We can see them. Yeah, they're
I
beautiful.
feel like with the figuratives, I love when they're broken up with something that gives a little bit of a less action color, like a calm white or a blue in between. So it'll be a little bit of a breakup. But I'm thinking it's just, I've noticed that when people recognize my work, I think they recognize the ladies, the women.
Absolutely. And I noticed they're often threes. So I think if I was Andrew, I may have wanted to call it Sister, Sister, Sister.
I like that. And there's two that I'm working on that have 5
Oh, okay.
that are going to come down there. But no, I know it's so funny you say that because I noticed this particular batch is a lot of 3s.
Yeah.
So I'm good. Yeah.
It works. So we're promoting that on August 27th, which is a Thursday. You'll be painting at the Southside
Yeah.
Village Gallery live. You'll be there from 5 to 7 painting. We're encouraging everyone to come out. And so my question is, have you painted in front of groups before, and how do you feel about that?
Well, I have, and at first I think, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And then once I get there, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I tend to make it interactive. So maybe at one point, if I need a little glaze put on something, I'll hand someone a glove and say,
Fabulous. That's fabulous. I used to work with an artist years ago where she would do the leaves, like
oh
the
yeah,
little leaf, like you mentioned, and people would come and she'd give everyone a leaf and say, okay, you place your leaf. And then
yeah.
we would, I think that's brilliant. That'll be
Oh,
actually fun.
good. Well, I'm thinking of a way to keep it fun and so people are sort of brought into it. And who knows if it's finished, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, 100%. And you've been with Chasen now for years, right? Because you mentioned the other gallery, which was in Richmond. So,
Right.
So what's that experience been like working with Andrew and Mark?
It's just they're an eclectic, beautiful, quality gallery, and I'm so honored really to be a part of them. I used to, before I was a part of the gallery, I would go in and I just loved everything that was there. And then I don't know if I should say the story on tape, but I kind of started to flirt with the gallery. So what I would do is I would have a New Year's card made up on a postcard. So it had just one big picture of my art, like a 5x7. And I would put it in a clear plastic envelope, like if you were buying a greeting card.
Sure.
And I would send them Happy New Year cards for a couple of years. Then finally I went in and I talked to them and I said, well, do you know I've been flirting with your gallery for years?
Oh, that's cute. Well, it seems to have worked out very well. And I wish I could be down there on the 27th. So you're in Virginia, I'm in Raleigh. I am looking forward to getting down there during their season for some of their exhibitions. But well, this has been great. So again, the show will be opening on the 27th of August. It runs for a month, so right through September. Come out if you can. Holly's great personality. She'll be entertaining. In the comments below, I'll put the link where you could view her work on the Chasen's website. But this was a lot of fun, and well, maybe we can revisit after the show. I'd like to hear how everything went.
I would love that. I so enjoyed meeting you, and we've been, texting and messaging for a while, and it's so nice to finally meet you. And thank you so much.
All right, so we'll see everybody soon on the next Collector's Vault. Thank you.